What is up, and good afternoon? Welcome to another episode of the Talking Shop podcast, brought to you today by KFC. Our fine folks over at Kentucky Fried Chicken have sponsored this episode. We appreciate that. By sponsoring, I mean they sold me food that I could eat during. So I'm here with Michael over on the other side from Medium Rare Cards. We got It's Cobb hanging up top, Lord of all. We're here to talk some shop with you today, talk about some new products and show off some cards and have some fun. How's everyone doing?
Good. Jacob was complaining how cold it was.
I'm getting old.
I'm the only one that complains how cold it is because I'll do that in the summertime.
There you go. There you go. Jacob, hit us with the rundown if you would.
All right, so we're going to recap this past weekend's card show. From what I've seen, it looked like it was a pretty good time. Then we're going to talk about Topps taking over the WWE license with some cool Topps Now drops. And then we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs. Who should collectors be watching? Then in hobby news, we're going to talk about the 2024 card of the year revealed by Topps. Was it the right choice? Then Josh is going to share some insights on protecting card shops after a fire lit up a shop in Massachusetts. And we check out the 2024-25 Panini Revolution release with some teasers. We're going to debate whether Topps tennis cards will take off and reflect on a legendary LeBron Logoman Christmas pull from 2004. As always, we'll share what's new in the shop, highlight hits from the show this past weekend, and wrap up with a crazy stat of the week. So, Josh, I think you were the only one of the three of us at the show. How was it?
Michael made an appearance.
What?
While albeit brief, he was there.
Okay.
You can never say that I don't support the local card shows, even though it's 2 victory laps and a goodbye.
Did you pay your $3 to get in?
I did.
So, as everybody knows, everyone was scared of the snowstorm that I said wasn't going to materialize. It turned out to be right as usual. It did threaten with some ice and some nastiness the night before, and early that morning it was still kind of a little slippery and freezing cold out, but we saw that the day was going to turn into 40s and sunny, so we had a feeling if it would maybe start off a little slow, people get a little cabin fever and say, hey, the roads are nice, the sun is shining, let's go to the card show. And that seems to be exactly what happened. We had our biggest turnout of all the card shows we've done.
That's awesome.
I think combined with the fact there just wasn't anything else going on probably actually helped. The weather, canceling basketball games and stuff like that probably helped. The fact we hadn't done one in a quarter or two probably helped because people were ready to rock and roll. But we also, another thing that helped was you had a couple rebuyers. I don't want to call them repackers, resellers maybe, but people that stream on Whatnot and they need inventory for that. There were some of those guys that made the rounds and spent a nice little chunk with everybody. So remember these are $30 tables, and I think the lowest, I asked several people how they did as sellers. I think the lowest one I heard of did like 600. And that's the lowest one, and most did a couple thousand. I know I spent 700 on Brady cards between like 2 different sellers, so I know they at least made their table money back. We'll show some of those off in a little bit. It was a surprisingly good show. People are already asking when we're doing the next one, so we're trying to kick a date around there. But it's found this niche of being an inexpensive, smaller but inexpensive card show to set up at. And I think there's a good niche for that because I know other card shows are over $100 a table.
Yeah, I think being in that lower price point for the vendors gives them a little bit of room, right? They're not sort of stressed out about having to make their table fees back. It sort of lowers the temperature. It makes deals, especially at the beginning of the show, easier. I do love the fact that there were some quote unquote repack buyers coming through there, injecting some energy and funds back to the dealers And then the dealers were probably more open to buying from people walking around. So, I'll just echo what Josh said. I was there for a few minutes, and if the parking lot was any indication of how busy it was, that parking lot was full. It was chocked full.
I think people had to park on the street. People were telling me they got to park on the street
Yeah.
and walk, which
So
is
you
Good
cool.
problem to have.
turn out with good weather, sort of in between winter and spring sports. That's if you find a date in there that you get a couple open weekends, late spring, man, that little show. Don't sleep on that show on Rock Hill. It's starting to really, really gain some traction. So, Jeremy, if you're watching, congratulations. Is it top sports?
Top sports promotion. Yep.
Yeah, good for you. And Josh, thanks for being there as a local card shop, trying to grow a local show. It's fantastic.
Yep. Yeah. We were
We could
very
just
pleased.
if we could just get Jacob out of his house to a show.
If I lived half the distance that I actually do from there, I'd be in there every day.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
That's how it is.
maybe you shouldn't move down here. I get tired of seeing you. Just kidding.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. So on to some Tops Now talk, but this time it's on the wrestling side of things. So I'm just going to go ahead and unplug my mic and just make me the little dude at the top of the screen. And you guys can
There we
talk.
go.
There we go. So go ahead, guys.
Yeah, Tops Now showed off some releases, or that you order and have a chance of getting this. And I've wanted to bring up this one because Josh and I are big wrestling fans, and that is a dual auto of The Rock and Roman Reigns. We talked last week, I think it was, that this is Topps Chrome is Rock's first auto in 26 years, 27 at this point. So it's pretty cool to have this already from him.
Yeah, they did a great job with the photo selection too. The guy's doing the Predator handshake.
So what event is this from, since it's Tops Now? What is
First,
this?
Raw on Netflix last Monday.
Interesting. So they're trying to draft off of the Netflix thing, and then obviously two huge superstars here.
Oh, I remember the Panini instance that they did. There were only about 3 or 4 that people really sought after. That was Cody at Mania and a couple of debuts. But Tops Now came out like right out the gate, hot and heavy, with like a Cena patch auto, Rhea Ripley patch auto. It was somebody else, but this was the big draw.
Yeah, you guys have got me looking at the comments now. I can't wait to see which breaker streamer gets this one.
Yeah, that's become the new typical comment you'll find about. But in Topps' defense there, it'll only go to a breaker / streamer if they buy the base card and happen to get lucky with it. So I love how it's a way to sell 9 billion base cards that are worthless for more than you should pay for a base card of this, and just to have a shot at this card, which I would value. Wouldn't you value this card at like, 10 grand more maybe?
I don't know. I was thinking like I'd like to have this as like a photo with the autographs on there rather than a card. Like this is a pretty important photo for this whole time period of wrestling. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. But if wrestling card market and customer base could grow, then it's like with anything. A Tom Brady signed photo doesn't sell for nearly what a Tom Brady signed card does, and that's very common in the sports card world.
Yeah.
I always think though, if I want a wrestler's auto on something, I want it on a picture, because
like that Shawn and Ric Flair you have in the background sometimes.
Yeah.
That size with this would be really cool.
Yeah. I think right now for wrestling fans, that resonates more than a card does, but maybe that changes in the future if the card portion of this hobby can grow. And I have a feeling if Fanatics has any say in it, it will.
It's easier to get like ring worn memorabilia from wrestling than it is other sports, it seems. Because like I'm in a Facebook group right now, and wrestlers will get on there after a big show and like, hey, here's my gear set this is what I want for it.
Smart.
So that's pretty cool. Let's get on to the next topic, and that is the NFL playoff picture.
Jacob, do you
Pretty
need
much.
a link for that to bring it up?
Yes.
Okay, let me send that to you in the chat. Josh, what were you saying?
I was going to say it's pretty much for the most part all the usual suspects. You know what I mean? And that it was like, man, I really hope this team can pull it off, but I think it's going to be this team. And the Bills are there, the Lions are there, the Chiefs are there. The other team that won, that was, I'm drawing a blank here, but the Ravens. Yeah. So the Texans are one of those that you're like, all right. And then the Commanders with Jaden Daniels is a pretty awesome story, but most of it's the usual suspects, and it's hard to bet. If I'm a gambling man, I used to do this with the Patriots. Just if the Patriots are in there, I'm bet on them, and it's unfortunately that way with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me the Lions, Commanders, Ravens, or Bills aren't perfectly capable of dethroning any of those teams. So
the Lions are a fun team to watch. I think it's going to be. I'm calling it now. I think it's going to be Lions Bills in the Super Bowl.
Lions and Bills.
Calling it now. So that just means neither of them will get in. Apologies now, Jason. Fact that I just picked them. But, we're not a sports podcast. We're a card podcast. CJ Stroud is down. His card values are down. He is facing probably at the end of his career could be the second greatest quarterback that's ever played in Patrick Mahomes. So I don't know if chasing Stroud is going to be something now, or even, if there's a time to get into Patrick Mahomes, it may be now, where everybody's just tired of hearing about him, and you just buy a couple really good collectible rookies, an autograph here or there, and just sit on them for the next 4 years.
You said Stroud is down right now, which is true. This sophomore slump, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It changes Stroud's prices in a heartbeat. They beat the Chiefs this weekend.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and if Stroud looks good doing it.
Yeah. But you and I, and we've always talked about this. It's not buying a card that everybody's already expecting. It's buying the unexpected. Maybe that breakout player. Jaden Daniels is hot as far as the collecting world. So I don't know, is it a Lions player? Jared Goff, I don't see his cards doing much. He's in that part of his career where he was never crowned. We've talked about that before. And so the hobby's sort of moved on. Is there a player on the Lions that you like? Is it is it Laporta? Is it somebody that's going to make an impact, that's going to have that TV moment that it'll spike? And then to be honest with you, I had no idea the Rams were even in contention. They made the Vikings look silly the other night. So sorry to everybody that put their chips in the table for Sam Darnold. Apologies there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Commanders and I'm like, man, Jaden Daniels just sneaky little Lamar Jackson-like in his. So you got Allen and Lamar, and Jaden Daniels just looks like he's rocking. If he can't find someone, he just wiggles his way out of there and runs. You got the Lions making everybody look. They made the Vikings look bad, the last game of the season. With why it's hard to bet against the Chiefs is because, like some of those Patriot years where the Patriots kind of sputtered their way into the playoffs, and then things just click. It gets, they got all the experience of being there.
Yeah, I can guarantee you go back to our January episodes and you say the same thing every time. The Chiefs look like complete hot garbage, and then or people are start underestimating them, and the playoffs start, and they look like they can't be stopped. They just gain momentum through January into February. It's bananas.
The naysayers they're gonna say they haven't scored over 30 points in a game all year or X amount of games, and you're just not going to be able to beat the Ravens or the Bills by scoring 20 points.
Yeah.
That's very true, but the playoffs are in a completely different ball game, and all of a sudden things will start clicking. Andy Reid goes a little bit deeper in that playbook.
Mm-hmm.
The experience that they have, until they're dead, I'm not gonna bury them until they're dead, and I know they're dead.
And I can see a scenario where, much like I've talked about this with Jason Tatum, right? It took a long time for them to learn how to win. They were always knocking on the door. I can see a scenario where if Josh Allen learns how to win and get past Mahomes, he's good enough to where he may not look back. Like he can go on a run. That Bills team looks really good.
The problem with the Bills Ravens this weekend is that one of those quarterbacks, and I think it's unfair, but one of those quarterbacks is going to be crowned the just can't get it done in the playoffs because they play each other. So one of them's getting crowned that.
Right.
Unless this game is 48-45 and just everyone marches down and it's just a case of who's got the ball last, that might save him. But if any one of those guys struggles more than the other and loses, then Josh Allen can't ever win it in the playoffs, or Lamar Jackson's just a regular season MVP, can't do it in the playoffs. So unfortunately for one of them, they're probably getting called that this weekend. And it's the case of in the Brady era, Brady got most of the rings, and every now and again, someone else would squeak one out. This is going to be the Mahomes era where he gets most of the rings, and every now and again, a Josh Allen, a Lamar, and an up-and-comer will snag one every now and again. But this might be the year that Mahomes doesn't get his.
Yeah.
In fact, I would lean that way. I'm betting on them this weekend, but not to go all the way. I really think they've got their work cut out for them there. And that would be a three-peat, right? Which has never been done.
Right. I think the hobby itself, my sense is that the hobby is waiting and like rooting for Josh Allen to do something.
Yeah.
And have a historic run and some really memorable moments, like a throw to win it or a run to extend, and then just people see that and go, yeah, that's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. So
yeah, I mean, they want to crown him MVP so badly when Burrow and Lamar probably had better years than him statistically, and they just want to crown Josh MVP so badly. But going back to the card collecting part, because people are always like, Josh, do you think I should invest in Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts? And I say Mahomes. You know, we've had this. But what about Herbert or Burrow or Mahomes? Yeah. Why not invest in the safe bet? He's already
the cool thing is with Mahomes, obviously, but even Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, those guys, they're old enough to where their rookie cards were before COVID.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have the pop counts that you see with the modern rookies. So
you want to invest in Jaden, it's got to be something pretty low number or rare.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But I get it. People want to invest in the next one that prices might be a little low right now. Yeah. That's the idea behind it. But my thought is maybe spend a little bit more and go with the sure thing. But
there you go.
It's like the stocks, the ones that are more volatile. They'll make bigger gains on them, and they might.
Yeah.
But what's Walt saying? Josh Allen is one of the best in the league. Will he get it done with the Bills? Is the question. Exactly right.
All right, Josh, what's heading to the shop this week? We're a day late today. Usually we're on a Tuesday afternoon, so we're actually recording on a traditional release day. So what's hitting the shops today? What can people come down to the shop and buy today? And then what's hitting the shop on Friday?
So the big one today is Bowman's Best 2024 Bowman's Best Baseball launches today. It's on the shelf. I'm a little higher than Topps Direct, which last I checked, you couldn't even order from anyway because they were sold out. and I'm well below the big boys on the internet. So support your local LCS. Come down and get you a box. If you're not able to buy an entire box of it, that's perfectly fine too. I need to get this little ticker running if Jacob would. Grand Slam Breaks, rockhill.com. We have 2 breaks we just posted over there on the break page, and one has a Bowman's Best box in it, along with a Bowman Draft box. And then we have a Prism Draft football break that is inexpensive. So if you're watching, there you go. It's a hobby box of Bowman Draft and a hobby box of Bowman's Best baseball. For the less than a price of a blaster, you can get in that break. And then for half the price of a blaster, you can get in the 2 Prism Draft football hobby boxes.
Sweet.
So I haven't even advertised that those are up yet, so I'll do that as soon as the podcast is over.
Those won't last long. I'm going to keep that page open and grab a couple spots.
Yeah, that baseball one could be pretty good because I think there's 3 autos in the Bowman Draft. I didn't even look at the cover. I think Bowman's Best is 4 autos, so that could be 7 autos in that product plus number.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the photo, and Bowman's Best used to be the 2 mini boxes, right?
Yeah.
In a master box.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it now, and it looks like they're selling protein bars.
Yeah. Yeah, they do look like that. I haven't seen one open yet. Yeah, they've changed the look and the packaging of some of these Topps products recently this year, and Bowman's Best is one of them. Leaf has changed theirs too. You've noticed Leaf has a new box type of packaging that they use on most all of their hobby boxes now.
And the cool thing about Bowman's Best is it does offer you those rookie cards of the top rookies, and then it pulls the top prospects out of Bowman as well. So it's a nice little hybrid. And from what I've seen, the inserts look pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's always a really good looking product.
Oh yeah. So that's Bowman's Best. What else hits the shelves this week?
So Leaf Metal Sports Heroes is supposedly today, which I'm super. I was selling it earlier than I should have, because we sold out over the weekend almost. So that date may have bounced around a little bit. If I did, I apologize to Leaf. Here's the good news: I sold a bunch of it. People liked it. So the big one this Friday, though, for us is the Prismatic Evolutions product.
Wow.
We have a little disclaimer. Don't come on Friday expecting there to be any. Would be maybe the polite say it. Here's the dilemma. Lots of people that have never been to the store before have called and asked about it. Do we wait in line? Are you going to pre-sell it? Are you doing a lottery way to win a spot at buying it? And so we've started seeing a lot of card shops saying, we're just not going to sell it on Friday. And I think it's so that they can sell it to their regulars, because you can't sell it all to strangers that don't support you. And then your regulars come in the next day and it's all gone. Sorry, the people that beat you here because they took the day off bought it all.
Wow.
And so a lot of us card shops are wrestling with, how do we do this? Obviously, you have to limit it. This is also a subset, and so we just don't get as much of this as we do a standard set, where we usually have plenty for launch day. So the next set, come on launch day, you'll be able to get some. But this set is a little weird. So there's a lot of negative press around Pokemon right now. Jacob, you've probably seen some just in surfing through social media, or both of you, but like a lot of people not liking how hard it is to get product. Feel like prices have been driven up because of demand too high, that the casual Pokemon collector is having to pay for it now. And so
I've heard the pull rates are ridiculous.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad way.
Like hard to pull?
Like 1 out of 2,000 packs.
For Prismatic? Walt says, let's talk about the $18,000 raw card sale this week of Vaporeon. Yeah, I would be skeptical of that. I don't see how that's possible for it to be raw in that price because they don't serial number cards. If they serial numbered cards, I could see that. So be careful that that's not hype, or maybe post a link or something. But yeah, there's a bunch of valuable cards in this set, and I don't have an answer for what's the best way to sell a limited amount of product. Because what happens is you open the door on Friday at 11, and the stream of, there's probably maybe, let's say, 10 people out there, 12 people. They stream in, and who gets what? You get one product. Is it going to be this or that? And yeah, so I think card shops are now saying, well, and all the phone calls we've gotten about it and messages on social media, I think card shops are like, I can't do this any fair way. We're not going to have it for sale on the shelf that day. Thank you for thinking of us.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't even realize that was up. That this was going on. So Josh, for your core audience, and your local guys, what's the best guidance you can give them if they want to get their hands on some product from you?
When you have that answer, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye out on the socials. You'll let them know. We'll communicate with them that way.
Yeah, I probably will make a post tomorrow. There's just, how do you handle when there's not enough to go around? How do you do it? How are you fair?
Yeah.
Walt says, how is this fair to everyone? I would love the answer to that question. It's when you got 12 of something and 100 people that want it. How do you handle it?
Yeah, and and how do you handle it with grace and integrity? Because I'm sure there are folks that are in your position that would not handle it that way, and so you got to do the next best thing. So,
how did you handle Champion's Path when it was in the height of the 2021 boom?
It didn't have this demand. It was kind of like how we would handle Lorcana the first set or two.
Yeah.
We had enough of it also that the 12 or 15 people that are waiting at the door can kind of get what they want. We always one limit of one SKU per customer. And so,
because I had the 2 Charizards people were going after. This has like 6 to 8 of the evolutions that people are going after.
Yeah. There's also this big new surge of Pokemon collectors to the hobby. And I'll kind of defend in Facebook posts, you see scalpers. If you were here in the shop since Christmas, the amount of people that says, I'm just getting back into this, I want to start collecting this again, the amount of just pure collectors that want to get back into Pokemon is the majority of why this demand. There's always going to be some scalpers, especially when it's this.
Always.
But it's not like COVID flipping scalper era. This is like everyone wants to buy this because there's just not enough of it out there. So Scott says, I always make the right decisions, and that's why he always patronizes my shop. Well, thank you, Scott. I do.
Preach. I agree. I'll co-sign on that. All right. Jacob, hit us with the promo, and then we'll be right back with Hobby News.
Are you looking to get your cards graded? Well, here at Grand Slam, we've simplified the process of submitting and getting a card graded. All you have to do is drop off your cards and kick your feet up, while our transparent tracking ensures that you are up to date with every detail along the way. When you log into our website, you'll immediately be greeted with each card in the grading process, along with where it's at in the process and its final grade. And with over 1,000 submissions and some of the top cards across the country being submitted through us, we have become a well-trusted source to handle and submit your cards. So you can do more collecting and leave the chore of grading to us. So don't sit on grading your cards. Get them submitted today at Grand Slam, where grading's made easy.
All right. Well, we do not have 47 topics to talk about this week, so we only have 43 topics to talk about this week. So go ahead and get us started, Jacob.
All right. Well, Topps posted the top cards of the year, the card of the year? I haven't
Top
looked at
10,
this.
wasn't it? I think it was top 10.
Let's go ahead and take a look.
It's hard to argue with these two. Like,
Top three.
So coming in at number 3. Go ahead, Jacob. I'd have to agree with this. Coming in at number 3, the Ohtani 50/50 Dynasty Black Logoman 1 of 1. It's got the MLB logo, gold ink auto, 1 of 1. It's hard to argue without that one being in the top 3. I got to give them to that. What about number 2? The card that hasn't surfaced yet that we know of.
Yeah,
The
I've got
Paul
a little bit of beef with this. The fact that it hasn't been pulled, but it's in the top 3. That's a little.
That's what the top comment is over there too.
Apparently, what does the before you the Nathan.salad comment? It says voting for cards that haven't been. Is that even pulled yet?
Yeah,
Is it
haven't
just-
been
yeah,
pulled
there
is
you go.
interesting to say the least.
I guess two of these haven't been pulled. That's funny. So,
Yep.
but they exist, so they're cards of the year. I mean,
And the other one that hasn't been pulled is the
So I don't know. I think Topps does
So
a lot of things. Topps does a lot of things great. I think number 1, I don't know. I don't think Topps should be saying what the card of the year is. I think
and
this
then
needs
it's
to
all
be
their
sort of
cards.
so we're forgetting about. So there's no other cards except Topps. Number 1, 2 of the 3 have not been pulled. I don't know, guys. I have a huge issue with this.
There's one comment over here that says, I would prefer the card of the year to be a general release base card for its design and photography over a gimmick insert.
No, I don't. I disagree with that.
I think it needs to be historical, and some of these are. This one certainly is historical. The first one is historical. Paul Skeens has had one solid season. I mean, for all we know, he's Steven Strasburg. I don't know.
But
man.
it doesn't say card of the career or card of this decade. It's card of the year. And they probably are taking hype and value. I mean, that card was hyped by the whole entire Pirates organization, by Livy Dunn, by many others. I sent y'all in the chat the card that, in my opinion, should be that. This got pulled, unfortunately, because I still have a box on my shelf. But but look at the Logoman 1 of 1 Wemby rookie out of National Treasures. But Topps isn't going to put this on their list because they don't make it.
Right.
So that's the only issue I have. You know that a company is really subjective if they make a top 3, top 5, and not all of their cards are on it.
That's where I'm going at. That's the direction I'm going in, Josh.
If they would have had just one card from another company, that's all it would take.
Absolutely.
Or if they would have said Topps cards of the year.
Yes.
Different story. In their defense, the Wemby hadn't been pulled when this list had been made. So, touche. But I think there's probably a couple others they could have found and got pulled that would be up there. But it's hard to argue, though, that those 3 wouldn't be in the top 5, even with all the companies.
Yeah.
If you're going value and you're going demand, because they're probably going, what did those cards do to the demand of those products? It was unreal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true.
And then for the people like y'all and Walt there in the comments that are saying only cards pulled should count. Well, does it matter if the card is sitting on someone's desk or whether it's sitting in a pack somewhere? The card
I think it does, Josh. I think it does. Like saying that would be like saying the Brady 101 finite out of 2012 Prism is the greatest card ever. Well, it's never surfaced. It's not
but
there.
It still exists.
It could be cut in half.
I know. It could be, someone could be sitting on this thing. Somebody could have lit it on fire. I don't know, man. I think that thing needs to be. It's not
the top 3 cards that have been pulled of the year. It's the top 3 cards that were produced.
That produced
and
last year.
and those were the three that had the most hype. So
Yeah.
I think we can all agree their list has issues, whether like it's wording or decisions.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I'm not saying that these cards aren't important to the hobby. Josh mentioned it. They did impact the release. They did impact eyeballs as far as getting excited about the hobby. We're all down for that. But crowning 3 cards that came out of your products, 2 out of the 3 of them haven't been pulled. We have no idea where they are. Yikes. I think
what if they
Josh, you need to come up with a list, top 3 pulls out of the shop for last year. I think that would be a better
that
list.
would be fun to do. But
Keep tally
I'm
of it
still,
starting
I'm
now.
still on the argument. You don't know that those cards haven't been pulled. In fact, the triple auto, all those were sent out. So those are in a customer's hands. Whether they've been opened and bragged about online shouldn't have a bearing on whether it's a good card or not. And what if the Skeens patch was pulled by a grandpa and his son, and they're like, Grandpa's getting ready to go in for surgery. Let's not announce until after surgery that this card was pulled because Grandpa's got to have his energy. That's a total made up scenario, but like these cards could have very easily have been pulled. We just don't know about it. So
That's fair.
Michael, are you coming at it from like people don't trust these companies as is, with how many of the hits seem unattainable to just regular people?
No, for me, these cards have such a narrow collector base as far as being attainable. Like those 3 cards are lightning strikes, literally. And so you're talking about the 1% of the 1% of the 1% that can even fathom either getting that card or owning that card. And so how can that be the cards of the year? I don't know.
because I think
I'm
they're basing card of the year on attention, what it did for the hobby, what it did for the product that it sold. They're not saying these are the 3 best looking cards. They're not saying these are the 3 best. They're not even saying these are the 3 most valuable cards. I think that Wemby Logoman's more valuable than maybe all 3.
Yeah.
Because that could be Wemby's Logoman could be $1 million card. None of those other cards are $1 million cards. So Walt says nobody knows till they know. Could be cut wrong, could be off-centered. It wouldn't matter on those cards if they're cut wrong or off-centered. They're the only ones, and it's not about the appearance of the card. It's about what that card did for the hobby and the hype and the demand and the talk that it generated. That's what they're basing those cards on. They're not saying pulls. They're saying the top 3 cards of the year that were produced. And I don't think having been pulled is a bearing on their decision. I only have a problem with them not putting something outside of a Topps product on there.
Yeah.
Without saying the top 3 Topps cards.
Yeah.
Because the Wemby at that time hadn't been pulled either, so it could have been on that list. And I would love to see what that card ends up going for. I would be surprised if it doesn't hit close to $1 million.
Awesome. All right. Next
You heard
story.
it here first.
Our next story is about a hobby shop just in Massachusetts. It was just suddenly catching on fire.
Yeah, show that video. That's kind of scary.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. If you're just watching, cameras in a card shop caught some products just, what do they call that? Spontaneously combusting. So, yeah, there's probably some ring underneath there at some point or something. That's a good question, but
I mean, Josh, as a card shop owner, does this just give you diarrhea watching this?
yeah, it's probably the same. It's like the night I got an alert on my phone that there was motion on the camera outside the shop, and you pull up your phone and you see someone with a cinder block throwing it through your door. That's probably what this person felt.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know what the after of that is, if it stopped or if the whole thing But my goodness. So, Josh, I know you've had a couple run-ins with people trying to steal product. Anything close to a fire? Like, what happens if that triggers a sprinkler system? I mean, then you lose everything. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that most of the time, if you're properly insured, that could be a really good thing. I remember when I worked in the shoe business, I was in Topeka, Kansas, and we were talking about another shoe store within the same company. One of the owners, the store caught fire, burnt to the ground. No, it was this current owner, and he said years and years and years and years ago, his store caught fire, burnt to the ground. He said, best thing that ever happened. I got all new inventory. It basically burns up all your dead inventory that's sitting there, and you get time off from work. You get, that insurance money. You get a 3-month vacation while you're rebuilding, and insurance takes care of it. And so he said, man, that was the best thing that ever happened. And so we always joked around, like, you want this one to burn again? We could make it happen.
Gosh, that's funny.
So there's that part of it if you're properly insured. But we've seen with the fires in LA, sometimes the insurance doesn't matter. It'd still be bad. So,
well, I hope everybody's okay there, and I hope they do indeed see it as a good thing, sort of a hard reset. All right, Jacob, next story.
Our next story we'll just kind of glaze over is Revolution for NBA. Josh, you mentioned there was one big change to this product this year.
yeah, apparently there's kabooms in Revolution this year.
Yes, not just kabooms, but they're going back and doing the more cartoon style animation kabooms, which I think were in
Those were the original releases.
Panini Innovations in 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat if you know that for sure. But yeah, so Revolutions, I've always liked it. That's sort of been sort of a fringe product, but I've always enjoyed that product. It's a good looking product in hand.
Yeah, I guess the only drawback here is Revolution used to be that hobby box you could get for $100 to $120 a box.
Yeah,
because it didn't guarantee autos. You'd get every 3 or 4 boxes, you'd get an auto out of it.
Because they were in Crown Royale.
And those... a couple of short prints and some numbered stuff. But now if there's kabooms in there, I fear that these are going to be $500 boxes. Could be wrong. Or maybe they're producing enough of them that they won't resell for what a typical kaboom does, and that'll keep the price down. I have no idea, but only time will tell, of course.
Now, when is this on your radar as far as something that's coming to the shop?
We always carry it. Yeah. Okay. We should have this. It's probably like with WNBA product. We've always carried some of it, and then it gets really, really hot, and all of it gets allocated to the big stores and the big breakers, and then the smaller guys don't get what we used to. But my plan is to still have it. So
awesome. All right, that's
all right.
Our
next story is about tennis. Michael, I know this is up your alley. You want to take it away?
Yeah. So I'm seeing this. There's Topps Graphite. There's this photo, the racket knob, out of Topps Royalty Tennis, which is a new SKU. Guys, I don't know if you guys have heard it in talk. It shows. Does Topps know something about tennis that the general public does not? Because I don't know. Is this the next thing? There was like F1 and then soccer. Alcaraz is hot in tennis, but it seems like Topps is really putting some chips into the middle of the table for tennis.
So this is the second license that Royalty is going to be a part of, because we talked about the UFC Triple Auto. I think it was last week or the week before. Last week with Dana White, Bruce Buffer, and Daniel Cormier.
So that's the Royalty SKU out of that.
So it's just UFC and tennis so far.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a niche. They don't produce as much as they will baseball and football and basketball, but there's definitely a niche for it. And if you're doing bat knobs, why not do tennis knobs?
I think it's cool.
You can't
Yeah.
do the strings, or I mean, it's a great part of the racket to do. It's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
I love it, guys. In the comments, are you guys down for the whole tennis thing? What do you guys think of it? Do you think that this will have the same sort of rise and fall that we saw with F1? Let us know what you think in the comments. I think tennis has a wider base, but again, American tennis has just been so bad for so long that I don't know if it's going to have the sort of appeal as far as the collecting base, but we'll see. They need to ride Alcaraz for as long as they can, and then hope a young American star, a young, good-looking American star, pops onto the scene to sort of challenge Alcaraz. And because tennis is all about rivalries, and if that can happen, then a product like this and subsequent tennis products may do well.
All right. Well, we got two more quick stories. Our next one is about a 1-of-1 LeBron James patch that some kid, I believe it said what, he pulled for Christmas 21 years ago.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Sweet card, too.
And I'm thinking, we just had a lively debate about the card of the year for 2024. What card was pulled last year that in 2045 or 2044 we'll look back and go and look at it like this? Is it impossible for a modern? I know, it's just because of the fact that, is it because production is so high, or is it because
it's because this phenomenon didn't exist back then, so no one knew to keep. I mean, in the comments it says he was offered $1,700 at the time, and he held on to it for years till his brother-in-law told him what it could be worth today, leading to a $120,000 payday. That was in 2021. Probably could, whoever bought it for 120 could probably sell it now for more. Not a boatload more, but probably a profit. But it's like now we're trying to get on board with garbage pail kids. It's just not going to be what the originals were. And of all the stories I hear in the store from old collectors, man, if I had hung on to my Mickey Mantles, we put them in our bike spokes and the mom threw them out. I said, well, if all of y'all kept a hold of them, they wouldn't be worth what they are now. They're worth what they are now because nobody kept a hold of them. You just didn't know what you had at the time. Could there be something now that nobody thinks is collectible? That's the way you have to go, because it's not going to be anything in the card market. Nothing, you know what I mean? Like, everybody now is paying fortunes for Mac Jones rookie card auto because of what it could do in their butts. And so even now, the price that they're paying $1 million for a rookie card now because they think it can do what the rookie cards back then, going from this is 1,700 to 120,000. Yeah. Now they're just going straight to 100,000 right off the bat. And I just think the ship has sailed.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that the most valuable collectibles weren't collectible when they came out?
Which is why they're valuable now, because nobody collected them. And we're already all collecting all this stuff. And so
that's what makes the graded video games market so lucrative. You buy a game to play the game. Not many of them are still sealed. That's why they're so desired now.
Yeah. There's got to be something that people aren't thinking is collectible. Nathan says physical media. I don't know. Give an example, Nathan, of what you mean.
Just like the video games, because everything is so digital now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had CDs, well, you had records and then CDs and VHS, the original VHS tapes, if they're still sealed and you get them slabbed, those are worth a bunch. But again, that ship maybe hasn't sailed, but it's pulling out of port, and people know that now. So yeah, I would say we're still a little late on that. There's got to be something now. You know, how about this one? This ship has sailed too, but like old T-shirts from the 80s, the original concert shirts from and the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirts that were made at that time that you can find in thrift stores. I mean, it's a big business now, going to thrift stores and finding these clothes. There's an entire store in the mall, in Carolina Place Mall. It's all vintage clothing from when I was a kid, and it's all 80s rock bands and cartoon characters and those, and they want $100 a T-shirt for them. So that ship has sailed, but there's still something we're not thinking of, and it'll be valuable one day because we're not able to think of it right now. That's why.
So your take is that cards that were either doing the Tops Now thing or pulling out of packs, that this phenomenon will never see it again. The hobby would have to die and then get revitalized at some point. Like it would have to go to zero, and then people walk away from it, and then it becomes a thing.
Yeah, I can't fathom it being more valuable than it is now. It'll go through a down peak eventually. I don't think it'll ever die. There's too many big names in it.
Yeah.
It hadn't died originally from the 80s, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know the answer. That'll be.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if one of the cards of the year eventually gets pulled. And in 20 years, they're talking about that Shohei card like this. But you're right. They would have gotten into it for $100,000, and maybe it goes to $1 million.
Yeah. And the guys that are spending $100,000 on a card are doing what we do with a $100 card. I'm going to buy it for $100 and sell it for $150 in 10 years, 5 years. These guys are buying a card at $100,000 and selling it for $150,000 in 5 years. So they're just operating on a bigger scale.
Extra zeros. Extra zeros. All right, Josh, I think in our pregame, you said you mentioned you wanted to show off some cards that you picked up at the show.
Well, yeah, I thought for that segment, we usually do cards from the shop or something.
Yeah.
I bought, and then I want to show off a card I bought on eBay. It's not expensive. It's probably one of my favorite cards that I own. And I've learned another hard lesson on buying Brady cards on eBay not graded.
Yikes.
Here's one. This isn't the card I'm talking about, but I bought this one ungraded. I may have showed it off, but I love this card. It's out of XR. Cool. It's a tough pull.
That's cool.
But
is that a clear? That's a clear card.
Yeah,
it's a
clear acetate card. But see right at the top.
Yeah. You
see some gunk on it. It's like permanent gunk. I can't get off, and so this is why people that don't like grading, they're like, "Why does everybody have to grade everything? You can't find a card raw anymore. Everything's graded." Well, it protects people when you're buying a card. Now, this is just going into my PC, but it's got some permanent gunk up there. But I love this card, and I still continue to buy raw Brady's. But I bought this one the other day, one of my favorite cards, and you'll see why it wasn't graded, and I was able to buy it raw. This is the Exploits insert out of XR. But I just love the design of it. The picture in person is crystal clear. It's a tough pull. It's less than $100, but it might be hard to see. Let's see if I can show behind it. Nope, that's even worse. But it's way off centered. See how the little border in my black sweater, as opposed to that border. So it was off centered, which is probably why I got a good deal on it. But I love that card. Tough pull out of XR. But I did pick up some stuff at the Grand Slam show this weekend. This is, let's show the first one. The first year they ever did Donruss Optic. And I have this card already, but this is Brady's first year Donruss Optic Hollow. and this one's numbered to 149.
Oh, that's cool.
So
It's a good photo too.
first year optic. Yep. I also have his second year. This was at the show as well. I got his second year optic. This is the blue one that's also numbered to 149. Got that in a 10. There were some good dealers that had some cool stuff.
Nice color match.
You'll get a kick out of this. The little sticker in a PSA 10 from 2018. Sticker got a PSA 10. So
That's
one,
tough. That's tough. Those stickers
02.
are
So
fragile.
this would be like third year Brady. Bowman's best.
There we go.
Got a
There's a
PSA
little-
10 on that.
That's a little teaser. We're going to be seeing Bowman's best football again. Very,
Yeah,
very
I wonder
soon.
this is look at that's for sure a refractor, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but it says
maybe
does it say
mislabeled.
refractor on the card anywhere or refractor on the label? So perhaps all their base cards this year had that refractor shimmer.
We'll see.
But an early PSA 10 card like that is always awesome to add. This one's not valuable, but I snag anytime someone's got a PSA 10 mid-career Brady card of any kind, regardless of the price, I'll buy it. That's 07 tops. Draft pick, Brady. And then the last but not least, the sparkly
Sparkle.
non-graded Brady. I love buying non-graded stuff sometimes as well. So
See, guys,
that was over
he's
$700 worth just on some of those cards that I got at the show.
not just a card shop owner, but a collector. Gotta love it.
Need more collectors out there, in my opinion.
Yes. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, if you've made it this far, thank you. If we could ask if you could like, comment, or subscribe, that'd be awesome. Leave us a review. Let us know if you like what we're doing, or you don't like what we're doing. But Josh, let's wrap things up with crazy stat
Ooh.
of the week.
Put me on the spot. I happen to have one or two. This is a Jordan Love stat. Jordan Love's career numbers during Toyotathon. 28 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His career stats not during Toyotathon. 29 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. Said one of the strangest phenomenons in sport is the way Jordan Love performs when Toyotathon is going on.
That's one of your
Man.
stranger ones.
This one's kind of strange too, but it's funny. It says this might be the wildest graphic in baseball history. It's a game where Adley Rutschman was going up to bat, so they put this stat up there. It says most career home runs with the last name beginning with R-U-T. You have Adley Rutschman with 8, Josh Rutledge with 20. Did you see who is the first one?
No.
Last name starts with R-U-T. Old Babe Ruth at 714.
That's hilarious.
The strange thing about this was Babe Ruth and Adley Rutschman, who are both in the top 3, both have birthdays on February 6th. So
That is strange.
there you go. And that's probably all I've got for crazy stats. I saved those couple along the way. And
Awesome. Jacob, before I sign off, you just posted something in the group chat. Did you want to bring that up
Nah,
before we leave? All right. Guys,
Same.
Josh, thanks for taking some of your day and helping out. Jacob, as always, thank you for producing. And guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
go grab some break spots on the break
Yes.
page.